Hi, what's up, Chalkers? Welcome to the Let's Chalk About It podcast. If you're new to fitness or just want to hang with some like-minded fitness folk, then this is the place for you. Remember, it's always good to chalk about it.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Let's Chalk About It. I am joined by Captain Jacked, Scott Carson. How are we this week?
Yeah, I'm good, thanks, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm all right, thank you. I'm all right. And we have our special guest this week, which is UK wrestler Brady Phillips. How are you?
Yo, I'm very well, thank you.
Thank you very much for joining us. You don't know what you're in for yet, but thanks for joining us. You've just taken part in our quiz, so you know a little bit about what you're going to expect from us. Only I'm in control now and not Scott.
Shame.
It's gonna be some good, clean humour.
Yep, no
I'm
swearing.
the captain now.
I'm the captain now. So how have you been during lockdown? How's version 2 been treating you?
Like training. Like I invested so much in training equipment in lockdown 1 that I'm actually okay come lockdown 2 because I didn't sell it and try cash it. You never know with these things nowadays, do you? So I kept hold of it all and I'm good to go for 4 weeks or whatever it's going to be this time around.
So training wise, you're just training outside?
I'm training outside. I haven't got a farm, but there's a barn that I'm currently using that's got some stuff in it and just training there on the regular.
Wow, he's like the real Brock Lesnar, isn't it? Do you go right in with a log?
No, not yet, but I am looking into. I've started doing carries. I've never had space to do carries before, so I've just been doing farmers walks with a trap bar at the minute. I'm looking at getting some handles, and I want a prowler sled, which I'm looking around for. Just because I've got the space to try these new things that I've just never really done before, so I'm gonna look into that. And I'd say it's not less Brock Lesnar, more Rocky 4.
Oh, okay. I think if I was to train anything like that, it'd be more like Rocky 5, where he's like, yeah, you got calluses in your knees, you can't walk, you can't move your arms. 6, that's the one.
6. Rocky 5 is the one we don't speak about.
Is Rocky 5 the one where he's a trainer?
Tommy Gunn.
Oh, yeah, okay. All right, then Rocky 6. Which is technically Rocky 5 because we don't pay attention to Rocky 5.
We do not.
I'm more Nacho Libre when I train.
I want my eagle powers.
You did look a little Jack Black there with the facial hair going on.
Yeah, with the shaved buds. Yeah, I do.
If I could quote that film, I'd request a quote, but I don't know anything about that film.
Nacho Libre.
Yeah,
I've seen it maybe once because I thought, wrestling film, and then I watched it once, and I was like, never again.
How dare you do this to a wrestling film?
In terms of wrestling films, it's very much down there.
Yeah. It's below Ready to Rumble.
I was about to say, what was we used to watch?
Oh, no. Ready to Rumble's like up here, just below the wrestler.
I love it. I prefer it to the wrestler, but people hate it.
I can quote that
film.
film.
It so much.
Smells like French toast. French toast dipped in shit. Such a great film. Didn't he actually have a run as the champion there as well for a while? David Arquette.
Yeah, he did. Yeah,
he did, didn't he?
Was you asking that as a serious question?
Yeah, he was. Yeah.
That's a very famous thing. He gets a lot of shit for that, doesn't he?
I'm sure he does.
Like he killed WCW because of that.
Oh, he killed WCW.
That's
the reasons why WCW did a bit.
So I assume you haven't seen David Arquette's documentary that he did.
I haven't seen that yet. No, I want to.
It is very good. You should definitely check it out. You
get
more of an insight into the guy, and he just seems like a guy, a normal guy that he just loves wrestling. He wants to be around it, and he did a nice little run on the independents and stuff.
Yeah, I've seen a few of his hardcore matches.
Yeah, I did know that because people used to fuck him up.
There's the famous one with Nick Gage. Is it Nick Gage?
Nick Cage, yeah.
Cage, sorry.
Yeah.
And then there's one on this documentary where like he thinks he's got booked by this place. He turns up and it's a bunch of yarders.
Yeah.
But
standard CZW style sort of gig.
It is. If you get a chance to watch it, I highly recommend it. It was very good.
I'll add that to the list.
It made me want to wrestle him. So,
this is the reason I do these podcasts. See, like David Arquette document.
David, if you're listening, hit me up. we'll do a wrestle.
Not in the south side of the Scots just found out that no longer exists.
Yeah, heartbreaking.
You're heartbroken. I'm heartbroken. I
have a pretty big back garden, so
that was 70% of my bookings.
So let's get on to your wrestling and how it all started for you. Are we allowed to, reminisce a little of?
Yeah.
This? Yeah.
Yeah, it's all part of history, isn't it? Like, not everyone has that smooth start, and
none of them, absolutely none of us do, mate.
We all get into this because we love wrestling, and that kind of gives you tunnel vision sometimes to the reality that you're in.
Yeah,
and that's definitely what I had for like the first. I'll say my first run in wrestling. I don't really like to call that as my because I wasn't trained very well and I wasn't good, and that's down to just my environment. I should have been more aware of where I was and what was out there, but at the time I wasn't. I started off. I'm not going to name drop the promotion because we've got some issues with each other, shall I say?
And they don't deserve it. So
and they definitely don't deserve it. But I didn't even start with him. I started off. You remember BCW? I think you guys both worked there.
BCW, Briggsleys. Yeah.
And Adam was he's a really good guy, but he wasn't a serious promoter and he wasn't a serious trainer. And the training with him was, looking back now, it was a bit of a youth club, and that's not a knock on him. Like there was everyone there loved it, and we all had a good time. And then this other promotion come around, and he started training there, and then like he's putting on shows. And so I'm like, okay, this is the path forward. This is how I become a wrestler. Is I go to this guy's training. He put me on a show well too early. I was well too young, But like I was 13 at the time. And what 13-year-old who wants to be a wrestler is ever going to say no to that? Like I wish I had, like, hindsight now. I wish I had someone guiding me that would like, not yet. You're too small. You're too young. You're going to get hurt. But I didn't. So I did it, and. It was atrocious. I've got it on YouTube. I'll maybe send you guys the link if you want to laugh.
Oh, brilliant.
Comment section below in case anyone wants to watch it.
And like, I trained through that, and I thought, that's it now. I'm a wrestler, I'm training here, I'm working these shows, and it wasn't until I left and come back that I realised that there was more, I guess. I think I wrestled for him for 5 years, maybe, and I stopped for 5 years.
You done a small stint with War, didn't you?
There was that. Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
Towards the end.
Yeah,
kind of as you sort of start getting a bit older and a bit wiser to what was going on.
Yeah, so I think I got into my early or mid-teens, so 16, 17. I got taller. I didn't get bigger. I was lanky. But I got a couple of outside bookings and stuff like that. Like I went and worked for ACW. It was like they changed to something else again. We probably shouldn't mention those actually with their history.
What history would that be?
Did a couple for War, where I think I had probably my best match to date at that point was with the judge.
Yeah, one of my best matches was with him actually.
And he just helped me. I think it was probably that match that helped me understand psychology of a match a bit better, because that wasn't taught where I was. It was just moves, off you go, sort of
Just
thing.
like to clarify, that is where I was trained, by the way, before you think...
You was trained at War?
Yes.
I just assumed. I apologise
No,
for
I
that.
was not trained where you think I was trained. I was
which explains why you were much better than the rest of us.
Oh, no, I was not. Definitely not. I take that as a compliment, but I was definitely not.
But yeah, and then I got a good understanding of the psychology of how you piece a match together from that match, and it was a good big man little man match. I remember we got told off because we were the opener and we did too much. There was like a German suplex in there, a dive, and that was probably my best match to date at that point. And then I think I had I don't know how long I did actually. It's such a long time ago. Maybe I did another year, and I had a falling out with my trainer or a main promoter, and I sacked it off. I was just at that age where other things interested me. Like I had a girlfriend at the time. I was at that age where I could go out and legally drink, and all these things just happened, and I just didn't need the stress of that place. So I went off and just did normal life stuff.
When I seen you at the sort of tail end, I think when you had sort of come back, or you were doing the end of your stint, was when I'd noticed a big difference. So when you'd kind of dropped the red, I'm going to call it a gimp mask. Sorry, mate.
Gimp mask. No, that's fair. That's fair.
You dropped the red gimp mask and you'd gone to the Hysteria style mask.
Yeah.
Is when I noticed a difference in you. I was watching footage of you, and I was like, yeah, that's not the same guy that you used to wrestle.
Yeah.
When I was wrestling.
You know, I think a lot of it is that, you know, I just got older, and I don't want to say I put on size, but obviously I did put on a bit of size. Like, I'm not
you're
talking muscle
definitely
mass.
much taller than you were when you were.
And because I think when starting at that young age, you know, like I wasn't bumping properly because bumps hurt because I didn't have no mass on me, so I didn't want to take these like snap back bumps because they would wind me because I had nothing protecting me. It was just boom, 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 and then like as I got a bit older and you know I was taller, a bit bigger. Like I say bigger, like I wasn't going to the gym. These bumps didn't hurt so much, so I could do more in my matches. They're still atrocious. Like I've watched them back a few times, but yeah, it wasn't good. I cringe to look back at it, but you know, we all started somewhere.
So how did you fall in love with wrestling in the first place? Is this something you've always liked ever since you were a kid, or did you get into it later on? Or
older brothers got me into it. I specifically have one memory of when I got into wrestling. I don't know if you guys ever did like school plays. Yeah. Like and so
we went to a Catholic school, mate. We definitely done school plays.
So we always used to do
one we did every year.
when I was in junior school, we used to go to school, and then we'd come home, and then we'd go back in the evening. We'd perform the play, and it was done over 2 nights. And my oldest brother, I think, was in senior school at the time, and he had his friend round, and they were watching something. And I remember specifically, it was The Undertaker versus Shawn Michaels, Bad Blood '97, and I was just like mesmerized by it. Like the Undertaker, this like gothic dead man, he was just beating the hell out of Shawn Michaels, and then I had to go to do my school play, and I really didn't want to. I wanted to sit around and watch the rest of the match, and it was probably maybe 10 years later before I got to see the rest of that match.
And that's your earliest memory of?
That's my earliest memory, and then just computer games was probably my way into it. In Your House on the PlayStation 1, if you guys played that.
Yeah, definitely.
The old arcade style game. It was right before Warzone.
I didn't get into wrestling until I was much older. Like,
oh really?
Embarrassingly older, if I'm honest.
Yeah, like 13.
Like you know the age when you're coming out of getting into wrestling. Like
yes,
you've got to an age where like you go and you meet. I think I was 13, 14. So it's like the time you should be growing out of it. So I hate.
Yeah, that is probably the age, isn't it, where you either stick with it forever or you forget about it.
I absolutely hated it, if I'm honest. I grew up my whole childhood. I was like, yeah, not interested in it. Not.
What was it that made you hate it?
I just thought it was cheesy. Like my memory of it was like the Hogan and all that sort of stuff. Just to me, it wasn't. It was like, there's so much had happened in the time I'd never watched it. I think I had one of the old WWF rings. Your little Hasbro figures. Those kind of, the little. I had one of them that was the closest as I got to wrestling, but it was only because someone bought me it. But I went to a friend's sleepover at like 13, 14. He was really into wrestling. And started watching it from there, and I was a bit like, nah, it's all right. At the time, we were one of the few people who had cable, Sky, whatever it was. I think it was NTL at the time.
NTL,
so
yeah.
SmackDown on Saturday morning, so I'd sit and watch that, and then I was kind of like, okay, this isn't that bad. And then sort of before you know it, weeks turned into months, and months have turned into years, and the times you should have been finished watching it, I wasn't. I was still there watching, and then I met Jermaine, who told us about wrestling school, which was BCW.
Yep.
Was that the Works in Kettering?
Yeah, the Works in Kettering. And we went over there. It was me and a guy I went to school with, and we were crucified when we walked in the door because it was actually ran by Adam's older brother, Lee.
Okay, yeah.
When I first went there. And he basically told Jermaine that no one else was allowed to join, and how dare he bring other people along. And he made me and my friends stand in front of everybody else and let them make the decision on whether or not we were allowed to wrestle.
Wow.
And
in the back of a pub.
in the back of a pub. Like it was some kind of elite premier place you needed to be. Like, they didn't even have enough mats to make a ring. It was just a bit of underlay at the edge just to make the rest of it up.
So I forgot. I completely forgot. But I did train there once. And do you remember Jake?
Yeah.
He wrestled briefly as Tyler Hayes.
Oh, yeah.
We went along. We was maybe, I don't know, 10, 11 years old. Paid our money, trained a little bit. They made us do back bumps by pushing us over somebody on all fours.
Yeah.
Made us sit out a lot of stuff and watch. And at the end of the session said, "Look, lads, you're too small. Come back when you're older." Like, you took our money. Like, you didn't know that at the start of the session.
Was that Adam?
Wow.
Yeah, that was Adam. Yeah.
That was Adam. Wow. Well, yeah. I mean, that's kind of how that's how I fell in love with it, and that's kind of how it sort of carried on for me. And I should have probably bailed earlier, but.
Just something about it that just sucks you in, isn't there?
There is just something about it. Even to this day now, there's still sometimes, I was saying to Stick the other week when we had him on, I was like, the way I train now, I sometimes think, if I went back, I'd be, and then I just think, you left for a reason, just leave it in there, leave it in the past.
Did you leave on your terms?
Kind of. Yeah,
because I think that's what brought me back. Was that I didn't really leave on my terms. I left on bad terms. I left angry with the promoter and hating it, and I didn't want to do that. I always had that craving in my head, like, I'll just go back and do a little bit. Like for one more year maybe, and 5 years passed before I did that, and I was like, yeah, just go back and do 1 year. It's not going to hurt. Leave, and then you can leave on your terms, and you'll be happy with it. And then now I'm still here.
I think with mine, it was, I really wish I'd listened to my own advice. So my very, very last match in the said promotion that we aren't talking about, I sat down with Blake and Chris Tyler. And I said to them, look, you guys have got passion for it. You're good at what you're doing, but you need to go somewhere else. You need to go and get trained by somebody else. Otherwise, you aren't going to go anywhere.
You need to get out of here.
And thankfully, both of them did. They went to LCW when it was still around. And I think it's still there from a training point of view. I don't think it's still called the same thing anymore.
No, now it's it used to be LCW Elevation training school, and now it's just Elevation. They're doing their own standalone thing. That's run by Joseph Connors.
Yeah, so Joe was running it at the time.
Yeah, I trained there also.
Yeah. And I said, you've got to go. And that was obviously before all the UK stuff started. It was long, long before all the UK stuff started.
Yeah.
And it worked out well for Chris, as you know, and much more for Blake as well, because you was seeing him appearing in a lot of other promotions. That was his hard work.
If you want something that's going to make you feel good, then Chris did the same thing for me. So he's obviously taken your advice, done it, and he's passed that same advice on to me.
Isn't Chris Tyler?
No, Blake. Sorry.
Blake. Yeah.
So if you said that to him, he said that to me, and he's the reason that I went elsewhere and did other things beyond that one promotion.
Yeah, I mean, it's a shame because that one promotion was very good at promoting.
It was,
and that's it. But from the other side of things, it's like it was very eye-opening to have a conversation with Sticks the other week, where he was literally saying about how he feels that him getting other people on shows is good for him. Because, people then get to have a good reputation of him. So, people go to him, they say, oh, who are you trained by? And he says, oh, House of Pain. Automatically, the shields come down and they're a bit more open with them. And then when they have a good match with them, they're like, yeah, I mean, that's a good training school. So, and word of mouth, and more people want to go to them. Whereas it was a little bit more shut off the other way around. It was very, very much about money, if you ask me.
And yeah, he didn't want you working anywhere else.
No.
That was always a big issue as well, especially if that promotion was a little bit too close for his liking.
Yeah.
Rude.
But you know, like I've been given little bits of advice over the years, and someone told me you need to start treating this like a business. You know, which is what it is. You know, we all say like, the business, or you know, we use that term, but we don't ever sometimes value it like that and value ourselves. And you know, I started taking this advice, and that's probably how I ended up out of there.
Yeah, well, that's probably the best thing to do as well. You know, at the end of the day, you've got to promote yourself.
You know, like I like to be loyal to people that are loyal to me. You know, and I wanted to keep working there, but I wanted to keep doing it under my terms. You know, like I wanted to. Obviously, I had a bit of a character transformation, and the new thing I was doing, the Brady Phillips character, was getting me booked, you know, A, B, and C. And I was like, well, this is obviously working, and the mask stuff isn't. But I don't want to just abandon it like that. I was like, let's do something here, and then I want to drop it completely because that's not what I want to do anymore. And he just, you know, you couldn't work that with him. You know, I tried to be fair about it, and he wasn't interested, and that pretty much terminated our working relationship there.
Well, it's from the sounds of things and from the looks of things, it's worked out much better off for you. You know, you're in a lot of other promotions now because of it. So, but not at the moment, obviously. But
no.
in general, you're in a lot more promotions than you were. So, let's talk more about your training. So, not your wrestling training, but let's talk about the sort of gym stuff you do and why you do it, and how that's kind of evolved over the years.
I mean, with the gym stuff, I trained, I guess, like your standard when I started, like your 4x10 sets of everything and anything, you know. And then I say it's not powerlifting I do, but it is strength training.
Yeah.
You know, and I do that because that's what I enjoy. Is it the best thing for wrestling? Maybe not. You know, like it's aesthetically, you're probably more appealing to a promoter if you look chiseled and like a bodybuilder. You know, like I'm not out of shape by any means, but like I don't train to look like a bodybuilder, I should say.
No, but I think strength training. I mean, we were talking about this. Is the weird balance you need to have when it comes to wrestling? Is you need to be gymnast, you need to be bodybuilder, you need to be strength athlete, you need to be powerful. There's all these things you just don't get in any other sport.
I think this is why a lot of the WWE guys do CrossFit, because they're getting their compound movements in, they're getting their cardio in. And you know, it's a lot. They do a lot of high reps with stuff, don't they? Like pull-ups and things like that. So I think that's probably the closest balance you're going to get to a wrestling gym workout is probably CrossFit.
It's quite funny though, because if you follow gym trends, that's exactly how wrestling follows. So if you go back to the 80s and 90s, you had the Gold's Gym era. All the wrestlers followed the same thing. It was all the kind of, you know, the Hogan look.
Walking Animal. And all these guys that went in did the big benches and the dumbbell work. Wear their Zimba tracky bottoms and their bum bags and stringers.
Yeah, and then you went through the 90s where you had like the sort of 90s into the noughties where you had the more bodybuilding side of it. So you had the Triple H's and the Rocks and all that sort of thing, which when bodybuilding was really popular. And now CrossFit's really popular. And then there's a lot of people that follow CrossFit in WWE.
I've never even thought of that comparison, but yeah, it sounds right.
It's an odd trend that seem to go hand in hand. Whether it's not because it's just kind of what happens with sports when it's, you know, new gym things turn up and people get into it, I don't know. But I think you're right in saying that CrossFit kind of makes. I think boxing and CrossFit are probably as close as you're going to get to what you need to be for a wrestler.
I think a lot of the reasons they do it as well is obviously being on the road, obviously not right now, but like with their schedules and stuff and finding the gym and getting their workouts in, you know, maybe they'll only get 3 workouts in that week. And doing something like CrossFit is going to hit more muscle groups than if you used to do like a bro split.
Yeah.
Yeah, they can hit full body 3 times a week, get everything in. And good thing about CrossFit is, you know, you've got your endurance WODs, you've got your 1 rep maxes or your heavy strength days, and you've got like your lifts, your carries, your kind of like strongman-esque parts of it as well. So it covers everything that you would end up doing in a ring.
Yeah, I think that's what I was saying about boxing as well, is getting that conditioning. So you've got that kind of MMA and the boxing side of things. From a conditioning point of view, is very similar to wrestling, but there's no breaks in wrestling. And this is a thing that a lot of people don't understand is in boxing and MMA, you're going to fight and you're going to fight for a long time. But you're going to have breaks in between. You don't get that with wrestling. You find your breaks where you can find them.
I mean, Kieran, have you heard of a headlock?
It's still hard to breathe. Someone's holding you.
Sleeper.
There's other aspects to wrestling as well that will blow you up, but you won't realise that they blow you up. And it's things like selling and just that extra movement and stuff are things that will get you.
Yeah, not even the heat. You get underneath some of those spotlights, and it's just like, where's this heat come from? It was freezing cold a minute ago.
Yeah.
I'm wearing a pair of pants, and I can't breathe under the heat.
But I've worked in some cold venues, and I'll take a hot venue over a cold one any day. Like I had there was a church in Leeds for Tidal Wrestling, and it was in December, and it was honestly the coldest thing. I had to have my hoodie on for my entrance. I did not want to take that thing off. It was just awful.
New Brady Phillips. Yeah, I'll wear a hoodie now, guys. I'll wear a hoodie.
Didn't you wrestle in a cave?
I did. That was also. I don't want to speak of the cave. Oh my god, what a day! It was cold. It was wet. I think everyone got ill from it.
Oh, wow, that's an experience, though, right?
What promotion was that?
That was for Breed Wrestling up in Sheffield.
Okay.
What they call it, Star Cave.
Oh, okay. That's cool.
I think it's all on YouTube. I think they uploaded all their stuff, but it was a very stressful day, and that was one of the days where everyone was under time restraints because they'd hired buses. Because this cave's in the middle of nowhere. It's a cave in the north, and so they'd hired buses to get fans back, but the buses were leaving at 9, so we had to have main event finish, boom, 9 o'clock.
Yeah.
Well, when the show's overrunning and it starts late and we get to the second half and there's 4 matches, we've got 1 hour. Very stressful.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, that doesn't sound like it's going to be the best of fun.
No,
Sorry,
I've got some pet peeves for it. Like it was a crowning moment for a babyface in that match, and we're having to cut short. And the match is less than it should have been because of time restraints. But it is what it is, and you work under whatever circumstances you're given. I was a little bit salty about it on the night, but I'm all right about it now.
Wow. It's understandable, especially when I think some things that people don't realise is that you don't, you might get 12 minutes to wrestle if you're lucky. And if you don't get booked a lot, I'm not saying you don't now, but, in the early days, if you don't get booked a lot, and this is sometimes where you get that sort of more is less, but you don't really understand that because you've got 12 minutes. And what you want to do is go out there and put on the best possible match you can put on.
Yeah.
Going out and doing the main event in the first match is not the way to do it.
Absolutely not. But you want to rub some people the wrong way. That's how you do it.
Yeah, I've done that many other times. Not even realising I was doing it, just doing it.
I say that, and I believe that an opening match should be it depends on the crowd also, but if it's a family crowd, it should be a simplistic match. Like, these people, it might be their first time at a wrestling show. Teach them how to react to things, So, nice basic match, nothing too high impact, definitely nothing outside the ring, Simplicity to get them cheering, get them booing, and leave some stuff for the other matches.
Yeah.
But then you have some cards where they're more smarter fans, and they're already queued up to it. And like, and in that case, it's like everyone's sort of in it for themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So you just got to do what you got to do.
And it's like, you're the first 3 minutes of a YouTube video. You're the one that's going to judge how they predict the rest of the show.
Yeah.
If you don't buy them in the first 3 minutes, they're going to be snobby the rest of the show.
You've just got to find that balance, know where you are, and sometimes you've just kind of got to play to the promoter. They're the ones that are going to rebook you. So I need to make an impact with the crowd enough to the point where the promoter wants to bring me back because I want to get booked again. But I also don't want to piss off the boys in the back, I say boys and girls. It's a term. And it's sometimes it's hard to find that balance, and sometimes you just got you can't please everybody.
Yep, that is a very, very good point. Is finding that balance that you need to that tightrope you need to walk, make sure that you're doing the right thing, but also doing enough that people know who you are. So from a wrestling point of view, then, what sort of promotions are left for you to want to work in? So let's just take the big ones out of the equation for now, because I'm going to guess that they're always on the list as normal.
Always on the list. You should be always aim high. Dream big. Like, I set myself a couple of goals I guess I've never really spoke about public, but like I wanted to do the Progress Dark match. They were doing dark matches for a little while.
Yeah.
And I thought, like, if I can get one of those, like, I think I can do enough to make an impact. And I had someone that was working there at the time, and he was communicating between me and one of the guys that run the place, and just nothing come of it. You know, it is what it is. It's wrestling, but that's something I would like to do at some point. Is that
in the UK, Progress is that sort of punk rock anti-establishment sort of thing. That
especially like I don't think I'll get. You know, maybe a few people in London might know who I am. I've wrestled down there a couple of times, and a lot of their fans are the smarter fans that come to shows that I do work at. But if I could get on a Progress show up north, like where I primarily work, I think I'd get a better reaction, and maybe I could make a bigger impact. Who knows?
Yeah, I think the last gig you done was PCW, wasn't it? Which was at the beginning of this year.
Ooh, what was that? I've done Yeah, I did PCW. I did a run on the camps with NGW, and I did my last show in front of a crowd was Elevation Wrestling, my training school promotion.
Oh, awesome!
Yeah.
So, do you still train?
I hands up, I haven't been as often as I should have, primarily because I work a day-to-day job, and you know, I'm making excuses, and I shouldn't. I should put more effort into training. You know, it's just you get midweek, and I'm just a bit fried. You know, I'm trying to balance work life, gym life, and then I've got to throw wrestling during the week in the middle of there. Sometimes it just gets on top of you a little bit, but I should make more effort, and it is something I start doing again as soon as we can. Is get back to that.
So, on the days that you are feeling unmotivated, so you know, gym's not the top of your list, what do you do to make sure that you get there?
I think I've just got ingrained in me. Like, I know now, like, I used to be really strict on myself, and it would be like train every day, and I'd do 6 days a week. I'd wrestling training twice a week, and then whatever shows I had at the weekend. And I kind of learned now to stop looking at rest days like they're a bad thing, and I started calling them recovery days, because that's what they are. And so Wednesday is like my recovery day, unless I had a terrible session, or that maybe I had to cut short or something like that. Like Wednesday, I'll always have off the gym nowadays. But like, I think in terms of like motivating myself, I just know I'll be miserable if I don't. Mm-hmm. And so I just know that it's not worth missing it for how I'll feel for not going.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah,
makes perfect sense.
I don't know if that's kind of depressing, saying it out loud, but it keeps me going there.
No, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of people say, you know, motivation's for amateurs. You know, professional athletes don't get motivated. They have to do it. It's their job. It's their work. So sometimes it's just that day you kind of have to go in, don't you, and just kind of do it and get it out of the way, because, you know, something depends on it. At the minute during lockdown, that's obviously a lot harder.
Yeah, what is it? Chris says, champions show up.
Yeah.
Sounds like a John Cena quote, that.
Who said that?
There is you know, like when you guys follow your own programs, or you got a program that you're currently following?
Yeah.
So there's no better feeling than when you're following a program and you've got your projected numbers, if you're working off percentages, or whatever you're meant to do. If your 5x5s increase that next week, and you're going in and you're just smashing every workout every week, you know, and then you're motivated to get that next workout in, bang, 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 and you know, like your deadlifts are going up 2.5 kilos each week, and it's like you're excited for that deadlift. I don't know if you guys get the same feeling from that.
Oh yeah,
that's
100%.
When you've got your numbers just right, and you're just rocking and rolling, like every workout, bang, 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 like that's it, you know. And like you do get them times where maybe you worked out your numbers wrong, and you know, you get pinned by a weight that you should be throwing up for 5, you know.
Yeah. All right. I shared that information with you.
That was secret, off camera.
God damn it.
Well, also, you know, we're not calculators, so sometimes following a formula is all well and good, but it doesn't take into account your emotional stress, how you feeling,
what you've eaten. You know, exactly. That's a big thing for me. Like if I haven't eaten enough the day before and the day of, like I know that workout's going to be crappy.
Yeah. Oh, I didn't hit this set. Why? Oh, I've had 45 minutes sleep and a bag of knickknacks. That's it.
I think my body works opposite sometimes, you know. Like I'm terrible at sleep, and I have been since I was a teenager. Like if I have to get up early in the morning for work and I finish early afternoon, I will nap before I go to the gym. And sometimes that, you know, I make up that little bit of sleep that I didn't get the night before. Other times it will ruin my workout, and I would have been much better off going tired.
Oh yeah, that hits home. I feel that.
Those naps are the worst. You know, when you're just feeling really tired and you just go, do you know what? I'm just going to have 5 minutes. 5 minutes will be all I need, and I'll be wide awake. And then you wake up and you just lay there going, why did I sleep? Why did I do that?
I might get crucified for this, but a nap for me is a 2-hour minimum thing.
No, that's me. Yeah, I've tried to nap before going to train with Kieran, and I wake up when I should be at Kieran's.
No, that's not true. He wakes up when we're all finished. And we get a text going, sorry guys, fell asleep.
Do you ever nap roulette?
Nap roulette?
Where you don't set an alarm.
Oh, yeah.
You wake up when you wake up.
I'd be alright with that because I still wake up mega early anyway. So from a, so we've covered motivation and in sort of what motivates you to keep moving. What sort of goals have you got in mind from a fitness point of view? So what have you got set numbers you're looking to hit in, or
I made the mistake of posting one on Twitter a few weeks ago, about a month ago probably, was a 300 kilo deadlift. And
you're knocking on it, aren't you?
What do you weigh?
I'm maybe 100. I'm about 100 kilo. It's a number. It's 100 kilo I had in my head. Actually, it was a weight I wanted to be at. I wanted to be 100 kilo lean. So I was like, let's just bulk up to 110 and strip it back.
Yeah.
but it is hard. It's hard bulking, especially when you're designed to be lanky. But number wise, 300 kilo dead would be nice. I'd like a 220 squat and a 180 bench would be nice.
Yeah,
got a little bit of a push on that. I mean, like right now, I'd like a 600 total, and I'm around 570 without testing my max squat.
Okay.
Primarily because I twinged my back, so I haven't deadlifted or back squatted in maybe a month.
Yeah.
5 weeks maybe. It's just been front squats for me, or zombie squats if you've ever tried those.
Oh yeah. What about zombie squats or Zerchers?
I'm not a fan. Not a fan of Zerchers.
Oh,
I know I've got a friend that loves them, just not for me.
I think they're very Marmite.
Yeah, they are. Yeah, definitely.
Just like any gym lift, very Marmite. You either love it or you hate it. At the moment, I'm hating squats. Absolutely hating them.
I threw some weight on my back tonight. It's the first time I've loaded the bar on my back. I just did some box squats. Nothing major. I did 100 kilo. Just to sort of feel it out, and it's still a little bit twingy, so I'll probably need a couple more weeks before I start trying again.
Yeah. Do you track anything else other than like the big three? Do you do your overhead, or do you do a combine?
I don't really track my overhead. Like I do a little bit. I'm a terrible overhead presser. It's just one of those lifts that I just suck at. But I try and increase it each week, and it's not always. It's not an important lift to me. I do enjoy my shoulder workout. My split, I don't have a back day. So I follow this Brian Algeru program-ish, like his template, shall we say, where he does, whenever he does a press, he does a pull. So when I'm benching, I'm doing bent over rows before it. So I actually superset my bench all the time. So it'll be bent over rows into my bench press. I used to throw a core on the end of that as well, but it just got a bit much. And that was my template for a while. And whenever I do an overhead press, it's a pull-up or a vertical pull, should we say. So a lat pull down, pull up. And I've just followed that for a little while now. And it saved me doing a back day. Because on a bro split, I go in, I don't deadlift on a back day. Deadlift had its own day. It was another lower body day for me.
Yeah.
And so like I just go in there and it'd just be some rows and some pull downs and I'll be done. It just seemed like a waste of a day of a 30, 45 minute workout. And seeing the opportunity to split that, it just seemed beneficial to me.
Yeah, Jim Wendler's got something similar, which he calls the horizontals and the verticals.
Yeah.
So when you do a press, you do a pull.
Yep.
Like you do a bench press, you do a horizontal pull. You do an overhead press, you do a vertical pull.
Yep.
And that's kind of how he Did some accessories for the 531 sort of the extension to Boring But Big that he did. But yeah, that's a way that I used to train a lot as well, because I hate back days. It's so boring.
And with my shoulder and / back day, it's one of those where you get a thick ass pump off it, like unintentionally, but your lats are pumped up, your delts are pumped up, your triceps, you just feel real thick. It's a fun day for me. So like I used to, like, if I was feeling a little bit run down and I was maybe meant to bench press that day, I could maybe switch it with the shoulder day, because I'll smash that workout, on 2 hours sleep, no food.
There's something special about a good shoulder workout as well. When you get that, you get a pump off a shoulder workout, either chest or shoulders. You just get that. It's just a different level. You just don't get it on anything else. I don't care what you say. So that's what it is. If I'm exactly the same as you, if I'm feeling bad or I just want to make myself feel a little bit better, I'm like, I'm going to go and do a chest workout, or I'm going to do it. I'm going to get the traps popping or do something like that instead.
I used to do an arm day at the end of the week as like my treat day. I've smashed legs twice. I've done my bench. I've done my shoulders. I've had a rest day. It's Saturday. Saturdays are for arms, and I haven't done it in a long time. Little treat day, good bicep, tricep pump.
Do you train any like unconventional lifts, like a log, or do you just stones or sandbags?
No,
like
so at the minute, like gym wise, I'm at a commercial gym. So, it's in terms of commercial gyms, it's a good one, but like it doesn't have any speciality stuff like that, strongman stuff. Yeah. There are some gyms like you guys are. I'm not going to say your location. I don't know if you want that on here, but like where you are or where I think you are, there's a gym that's got a lot of strongman stuff. They've got yokes, they've got Atlas stones, and a car deadlift, which I really do.
Apparently, it's gone now.
Yeah, it's gone now. Really? Yeah, they've revamped. Yeah, no more car deadlifts.
It was a nice little novelty for the gym.
People know where we are, right? It's the cave. We're talking about the cave. Yeah. But I think Rhino's gym in Stamford, I think they've got a lot of the old school strongman stuff now as well. So there's a place to check out if you do like it.
I've not been there. I've been invited there by some friends, like to do like a little mini meet. And max out some stuff, but I never actually went. They all lifted way more than me.
I'm busy that day. I'm washing my hair. So we've covered some of your wrestling. We've covered your motivations. We've covered some of your routine as well. What's next for Brady Phillips? Who have you got in line for opponents? Who have you got your eye on? Actually, let's pull it back a little bit. Who is your favourite opponent, if you're allowed to say, or if you've got one specific, and what was your favourite match?
You broke up a little bit for me there, Kieran.
What was your favourite match or favourite opponent?
Oh, see, I always feel like I miss somebody out on this, because there's a lot of guys I like working with, but like for me to enjoy a match, it needs to be near flawless on my part, and it never is. I'm my own biggest critic, but I've got a couple of matches that stand out in terms of crowd reaction, and one of those, I wrestled a young lad called Joe Nelson up in Tidal, and it was just everything just clicked that night, and the crowd just ate everything up that we gave them. It was just a really good match, and he was a fill-in opponent as well. Like my actual opponent got injured on a show the night before, so that is one. And my other one is I got to wrestle Dean Allmark.
Oh
yeah. First time wrestling. I'd just become Southside European champion the month prior, and I wanted to give that belt its own identity. So I kind of took some inspiration from some old school Ring of Honor Pure rules and incorporated it into that title. Just because they had a few titles, I wanted this one to have, like its own identity. Mm-hmm. And he was really cool with that. And like we pieced this match together using the psychology of the new rules of the match. And again, it was one of those where a lot of things clicked. There's a few things in that match I watch back and I criticize myself, and I see it every single time, but I don't know how noticeable it is. But that's up there as one of my favorites. And again, it's because of crowd reaction. Like they ate everything up that we gave them.
Yeah.
So if you could, so I think we've covered pretty much everything I was going to cover. If Scott, have you got anything else you want to add?
No, I mean, I'm kind of interested in what your diet is because you're jacked.
Yeah, I mean, what is nutrition for?
So
was that an accidental or an on purpose scratching of the arms there? I'm not.
I want that.
Is that a t-shirt or a tank top? I can't tell.
Diet-wise, like I eat a lot of the same stuff. I've been a little bit more forgiving of myself since bulking. Trying to put on a bit of size.
Oh, are you dirty bulking?
A little bit, not too much. Just if I've got to force some calories in me, I'll do it. But for the most part, like I've eaten oats every breakfast for the past 4 years. I just increased the amount that I'm eating. I'm currently at 120 grams of oats in the morning, and that's a slog.
That's a beast.
Yeah, and I'll throw a tablespoon of carb killer spread in that, and a tablespoon of peanut butter. Give it some flavour. Right. Just a bit of hot water with it, and then just mow it down. You think you're done, but then there's another 50 grams sitting right there ready for you.
So what's a typical day then? So you start with oats in the morning.
So lately, I've been having something on the way to work. So I'll have a protein shake, or just to try and get them calories in before I start work. Just something small: protein shake, protein bar.
Do you have a physical job?
A physical, yeah, somewhat, yeah. It's not always. It's dependent on the day.
Okay.
Oats for breakfast. Chicken, some sort for lunch. It'll either be chicken and rice, chicken and potato and veg. Some basic meal like that. I'll try squeeze in another meal between that and what I eat again. So some days it's tuna. Bang in a protein shake, and then dinner can be pretty much anything really. Steak, I eat a lot of steak.
Oh yes.
It varies day to day really. But I try and.
I'm not going to use the word. I hate the word, but it's a fairly clean diet. You're not eating a lot of crap in there.
No, not on a typical day. I mean, like I said, I do sometimes throw in some stuff. When I first started this bulk, I was really struggling to get all my macros in, and I figured out that if I ate one donut a day, it would bring them all in. Bang on. So I saw that as the opportunity just to throw a donut in every day.
So, okay, let's roll on that one. What is your go-to, now I'm going to say cheap, but what's your go-to meal if you're feeling a bit I need something that's not on my normal diet?
Oh.
We'll call it a cheap meal if you want to.
You can call it a cheap meal. So I think steak would be a cheap meal for some people. But
who would steak me?
No
one sits there and goes, I really fancy some steak instead of the rest of it. You got a box of donuts in front of you. No, the steak.
Let me try it. Are we just going one meal, are we?
Whatever you want. A meal.
I mean, it could be 3 courses if you want.
Yeah.
Your death row meal.
My death row meal. See, I'm so indecisive of things. I'm terrible. I'm like a terrible podcast guest because I can never just pick one thing. What do I like that is terrible? Maybe pizza.
Yeah, pizza's
I do. Like a good Domino's. I like the meatier one with the barbecue base, stuffed crust, garlic dip. Throw in a couple of sides, chicken kickers with the potato wedges, little garlic bread pizza on the side.
Are they the ones that do the burger pizza as well, with gherkins on it?
I think they do. I think they do. Yeah. I did try it. So when I've done 2 for Tuesdays in the past, I'll get a pizza I like and one I've never had before.
Why not?
Yeah.
Good shout.
And
I normally do that with Sophie. I just let her have. I'm going to order you this pizza. And I order myself this one.
And then dessert-wise, I'm a sucker for donuts. I love donuts. They are.
Yeah. They are top tier.
Have you got a go-to?
So have you been to Donuts in Nottingham?
Yeah.
I haven't, but I've seen so many posts.
Oh, I follow their Instagram, and
so do I.
It's torture to look at, so they're so good.
Yeah.
I like quite a lot of the ones from there. I'm glad I don't live in Nottingham. I'd be there every day.
Yeah.
But maybe they're millionaires, or I think it's billionaires they call it. That's a really good one. I'm anyone listening that likes donuts, go check out their Instagram page. They're donuts, and they are beautiful looking donuts.
Yeah, for sure.
So we're coming to the end of the podcast, and there's one thing I ask all of the guests at the end of the podcast, and that is, what bit of advice would you give your younger self?
Ooh. Don't go to that training school. Google a better one.
And as a matter of fact, there was a better one. We had the trainer on the other week. Go check out that podcast.
Oh, if only I'd known. If only I'd known. Could have saved myself so many years.
Yeah. That's my biggest regret, is I didn't take my own advice, and I should have just gone somewhere else.
It's never too late, Kieran. You can come back for one. I definitely know a couple of guys that would love to have that match.
What, with me?
I'll be your pallbearer.
With you.
I don't think so, somehow, mate.
It was discussed the other day, mate. It was discussed the other day.
I'll be your pallbearer, Kieran.
Do you want to know something funny?
I'll be your ringman.
For my funeral, which I've already organised, because we just have these weird conversations, Scott is actually going to be my pallbearer, dressed as pallbearer.
Great, another piece of shocking information I find out on a podcast.
I don't want to throw a spanner in the works, and it's great that you've organised your future.
Yeah.
What if he goes first?
Yeah.
Well, I can't be his pallbearer.
Yeah, and also
you could maybe do brother love. You got the hair for brother love.
I just don't die.
Yeah, they just
don't die, live forever.
No, yeah. I'm a planet. If I die, I take out the rest of the earth.
I know you want to wrap this up, but just quickly question for me: what are your totals at the minute?
Oh, my total at the minute.
Oh, dog shit. Mine was going really well, and I've had umpteen amounts of leg injuries for some bizarre reason. I keep pulling my calf, and I have no idea why. It just keeps going. So squats have been off the table for me. I probably was at a 180 squat, maybe, probably give or take, maybe 170, 180 kind of squat.
That's big. What's your body weight?
Just shy of 80 kilos. And deadlift 190. Bench is at 115.
You pulling sumo or conventional?
Conventional. I keep trying sumo. I keep going back to it, but I just don't find myself getting into. I don't find my back locks into a sumo as well as it does in a conventional, which should be really good for me because I'm so short that it should like really
shorten that range of motion a little bit more.
I'm massive amounts, but I just can't do it. I find I pull so much more in conventional, and I don't feel like I have any kind of pulls or twinges either.
I think the switch for me would take a while to catch up to my conventional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What about you, Scott? Where are you at the moment?
Oh, I mean, I've got a Chris Jericho list worth of injuries that I am nursing. I reckon I could still pull and squat 200 if I had to, if I had the right music and some nose talk and some knee wraps. And my bench is probably about 140. I mean, I hit 130 for a double the other day.
Yeah, you've got a pretty good bench at the moment.
Probably about 140. I think that's about it. Overhead, probably about 100.
Yeah, I think my end of the year plan was I wanted a 500 total. That was my end of year plan.
Smashed it.
Which I don't think I'd have been far off of it. Shouldn't have had these stupid leg issues that keep happening. So my right calf keeps going, and my left knee's just got no strength in it at all at the moment. So I do need to get them looked at. But
do you ever look at Squat University stuff?
Yeah, all the time. Yeah, all the time.
They always throw in a lot of stuff to help with like stuff like that. So
yeah. So I think what I'm going to do now is I want to concentrate on getting that 200 dead by the end of the year. That's my goal. I mean, I got 195 the other day up to my knees, which was really irritating.
You've got that.
Is that your weak point?
What, is in pulling to my knees or deadlift?
Is that where your
kind of
deadlift breaks down?
Isn't it?
No, it's pulling it from the floor. It's not the lockout. What it is, I use so much energy pulling it from the floor that by the time I get it to my knees, I've got nothing left.
Your acceleration slowed down.
Yeah, but whereas if I can pull quite heavy in rack pulls, so it's not going to be lockout. So I can get quite a decent rack pull.
Are you pulling deficits at all?
No, I really should.
If your weak point is breaking the ground, I recommend deficits.
My issue is at the moment was the calf, is that anything where I'm overstretching, it's just, and when I did the 190, I had knee sleeves double wrapped on my calves just to try and keep the pressure on them, stop them from wanting to ping out. But then I want to concentrate once I hit that 200 is getting a 122 log press is my goal.
Nice.
So I'm nowhere near that at the moment, though.
Are you guys planning on competing at all?
Yeah, I was until I had these issues with my legs. But I may do a log press thing.
Yeah. I mean, my plan is to drop some weight, and I want to do Highland Games.
Nice.
Yeah. So a bit more throwing, a bit more stones and stuff. So, yeah, knock that off the bucket list.
Why not make yourself a list and just start doing it? I'm approaching 30 this year, and I want to make myself. Well, I don't feel it. I want to make myself a list of things that I can do now before my body deteriorates to the point where I can't do these athletic things anymore.
For sure, man. Yeah.
And get it done while I can, and that's why I'm trying this wrestling thing for as long as I can. The important
thing is, can you now backflip?
I can do a shoddy backflip.
That's all that matters, man.
Oh, dear. Yeah.
I will show you. Like, if it's into a foam pit, pitch perfect. It's just something about doing it in a ring where I jump and I tighten up and I can luckily get myself round. Yeah, like.
One bit of advice I got told for backflips is stay looking forward and don't put your head backwards.
Okay.
So everyone, especially when in the wrestling world, because it's like a moonsault, is you stretch backwards.
Arch, don't you? Yeah.
How you do is you arch. Whereas I was always told to pick a point on the wall in front of me and keep eye contact.
That's a gymnastic technique, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it does work. Weirdly, it works.
I just tense up. Just can't relax. But if you ask me to take a Canadian destroyer, boom, straight over.
Oh, easy, yeah.
You land on your head. You haven't got to land on your feet.
Yeah.
I still like to claim that we were the first to do a DDT Canadian destroyer many, many years before anyone else done that move. And I have got the footage of it too.
What, used to, or me and you?
No, it was me and Mikey Fury.
Oh, right.
We did it in a war show, actually.
Oh, I've probably got it. I've got the whole DVD box set.
Yeah, you will have it. It'll be there somewhere. Right. Anyway, I'm going to close up now. So thank you very much for joining us. Brady, where can people find you on social media?
Oh, man, I don't know the links. It's like Brady Phillips UK maybe, or Brady Phillips Wrestler.
Okay, we'll put in the links below. If not, Google him.
It's probably a topless picture of me as the profile picture. If not, you're on the wrong guy.
Wearing a skirt.
It's a kilt.
If it's a guy wearing a shirt who looks like a politician, wrong guy. There's always a politician with your name, right?
Maybe he's taking this Brady Phillips in a whole new direction. You don't know. New COVID version of Brady Phillips.
And once we're out of lockdown, we'll need to come down to House of Pain, get a workout in.
Yeah, we should do a gym workout at some point.
Yeah. Or we all go down and meet Sam down at Mammoth and do some powerlifting.
I actually really fancy the House of Pain thing and putting Chris through an actual wrestling session.
Oh, I'd love that. Film it. Put Chris through it. Yeah, let's do that.
Find a day where it's really quiet down there and we can just go and spend a couple of hours.
Drop Sticks a message. I'm sure he'd be definitely up for that.
Yeah, I'm sure he would. He's a solid guy. He is.
He is.
Right, so thank you very much for joining us, and thanks everyone else for joining us. This has been another episode of Let's Talk About It. You can find me at let's_talkabout it on social media. You can also go to www.letstalkaboutit.co.uk, where you can also buy any of our merchandise, and you can find all the old podcasts, as well as Scott's PR or Bomb Out quiz that is also taking place every week. We'll catch you again soon, guys.